Now for the next assignment we're gonna do is the extra credit assignment. It's a discussion topic. Here it is right here. And so what it is currently the company Workday is being sued due to bias the AI technology has. As a result, millions of people have been denied jobs. Remember, we talked about bias in class, what we know, Mobley v. Workday lawsuit. So Derek Mobley and other plaintiffs allege the Workday's AI-powered hiring screening tools systematically discriminated against applicants based on race, African American, age, over 40, and disability. The suit claims the algorithm screened or protected applicants at a disproportionate rate, often with little to no human review, violating title and the ADA in California law. In recent June 2026 ruling, a federal judge allowed key claims, including class action elements, to proceed against Workday. I encourage you to follow developments, as this is one of the first major cases. Extra credit, a discussion board was created in Blackboard. Find and post an agreement reel or TikTok video of someone discussing this. Write a paragraph of how the creator used ethos, pathos, and logos in their content. Be extremely specific by quoting what the person is saying and providing an analysis. No direct quotes and description of what is happening in the video would not earn full credit, 75 points, and then respond to someone else's video is 25 points. You may not post content from the same creator. Okay. And so for me, I posted Jerry Lee. He's a TikToker, popular TikToker who speaks on AI. I actually don't have a link to the video, and I checked my TikTok. I don't have them in my saved. I guess I unsaved them after I submitted the assignment, which I probably shouldn't have did that. But I don't have him saved, and I went and tried to look for the video on TikTok. I think he took the video down. So I'm gonna just have to kind of go off what I have as of right now. But so what we're gonna start is, according to Jerry Lee, a content creator on TikTok, is discussing the lawsuit against Workday while challenging common misconceptions about AI hiring. He states that AI is not the reason your resume is getting rejected, arguing that a lot of companies rely on ATS, aka applicant tracking systems. He also explains that most companies just use ATS, basically a glorified spreadsheet, and that recruiters often filter by keywords. He says that if a job description asks for Adobe Premiere, but the resume only lists CapCut, recruiters are more likely to prioritize the applicant who already has Adobe Premiere experience. Jerry shows ethos by speaking on his experience as a career coach who helps people improve their resumes and navigate the hiring process, making his advice appear credible. Then he uses logos by giving an explanation of ATS software, filters resumes based on keywords, and by using Adobe Premiere versus CapCut example. Demonstrate why some applicants are screened out. He also shows pathos by reassuring frustrated job seekers with the statement, AI is the reason your resume is getting rejected, which reduces doubt, fear, and encourage some viewers to focus on improving their resumes rather than assuming AI is the main problem for the rejection. Lee's perspective shows that many job rejections are caused by resume optimization problems rather than AI making the hiring decisions. The lawsuit alleges that Workday's AI-powered screening tools rejects applicants based on their race, age, disability, and even before meaningful human review. Jerry Lee's video reminds viewers also to tailor their resumes, but it also demonstrates the process of hiring is more difficult than just blaming AI. So that is mine, and then I'm going to show my reply. And so this is the person that I replied to, Takira Harris, and it says, according to Professor Ken, a content creator on Instagram known as Ken is discussing a company called A-Fold and AI. In the video, Ken states that Workday, A-Fold, AI work together with over 11,000 companies that assign a credit score for careers. This company uses software scores from the estimated range 0 to 5. This score without transparency is illegal because they do not show interest in the resume and cover letters when you are applying for a job. They looked at your LinkedIn profile, social media, career history, and length of employment, which can easily kick out your resume. In this video, she is discussing news knowledge that is currently a trending topic. The lawsuit is still going on to take up years to resolve. In Ethos, the lawsuit draws attention because it involves Workday using legal evidence, court proceedings, and employment discrimination laws. Its credibility. And then she has a master's in teaching on others how to master AI, so you can be strategic. So you can be strategically and use your own advantage. Pathos, reading some of the comments on her TikTok, Instagram, people are unaware of this. Professor Ken states in the comment that she is heartbroken. She wants everyone to be aware, especially Black people. People are angry. There are allegations that people may have been disadvantaged because of race, age, or disability, which is frustrating and impacts people's lives. My personal opinion is these companies are treating us as if we are a robot. I feel like companies need to go back to the general in-person interviews and let go of AI assistants. Logos is presenting arguments about how AI hiring systems may unintentionally discriminate if they are trained on biased data, while Workday argues that its technology evaluates only job qualifications. And then for my response, I did, that is crazy that AI goes off a credit score instead of the resume and cover letter. Anybody can have a good credit score, but that doesn't mean they'll have a good resume or experience and qualifications for the job. It's a shame because the recruitment system is dropping the more qualified ones for the ones with a higher credit score, but probably with little to no experience or qualifications. And so that is my response. And then I will move on to the next assignment. So the next assignment that I'm gonna do is foundations, active participation. Active participation in an in-person college seminar is consistent, visible, sustained, in sexuality, substantive engagement throughout the entire duration of every class session. It requires full physical and mental presence, turning the classroom into a dynamic, co-created learning environment where student contributes continuously rather than passively attending core behaviors. Verbal engagement, regularly speaks up with relevant comments, questions, responses, and insights. Builds directly on peers and instructors' ideas with evidence, examples, counterparts, and participates fully in discussions, debates, and activities without long periods of silence. Evidence-based contributions. All student contributions, questions, comments, responses, and examples must be included. Explicitly supported by and reference to course readings, assignments, or relevant life experiences. Collaborative, interactive, works productively in pairs, small groups, or whole class activities. Offers constructive feedback to peers, asks clarifying or extending questions, shares resources or connections when appropriate. Preparatory and proactive, arrives on time with completed readings, annotated notes, and prepared discussion points, which is what I've done throughout the whole course, and hopefully everybody has done the same. Initiates relevant contributions, poses thoughtful questions, and makes connections to course themes or prior sessions. Sustain discipline, remains fully present and undistracted. No phones, side conversations, or disengagement for the entire class duration. Respects discussion norms, hand raising, turn taking, inclusive language, transitions smoothly between activities. And then here we have quality indicators. Participation is evaluated on frequency, depth, and impact across the full session. High quality contributions are evidence-based, concise yet substantive, inclusive of other voices, and reflective of critical thinking or synthesis. Mere attendance or occasional comments are insufficient. Students must demonstrate continuous intellectual involvement that advances collective understanding. This standard ensures every student treats the seminar as a shared responsibility, maximizing learning outcomes through real-time dialogue and accountability in a physical classroom setting. And then it says, do you understand all information above? I clicked yes. And then it says true or false. Respecting discussion norms means never listening to others. That is not true. That is false. And then here we have match the quality indicator with the meeting. So frequency, how often a student participates. Frequency is, let's say like another word for consistency, you know, how consistent does the student participate? And then depth would be the level of detail in thinking and contributions. Impact, how much the contribution helps others learn. Like with this class has a big impact on me. I learned a lot about competition and rhetorics in this class, and I'm planning on taking it outside of this course and use it into my next courses or whatever else I do in my life. And then for inclusivity, using inclusive language and inviting other voices. And then over here, I accidentally missed this one, unfortunately. Which core behavior involves regularly speaking with relevant comments and building on others' ideas with evidence or example? I said evidence-based contributions, but now that I look back at it, I think it should have been verbal engagement, because, like I said, which core behavior regularly is speaking is verbal, up with relevant comments and building on others' ideas and evidence. And then here, number 5, we got jump sentence. Put the sentence in the correct order. Verbal engagement shows up when student speaks up with relevant ideas and builds on others' points. And then number 6, active participation requires only showing up to class, not speaking or contributing. And that's false. Number 7, sustained discipline means you stay engaged only for a part of the class. That's false. And then for number 8, matching the classroom setting, action fits well. I did whole class discussion. Everyone participates, shares ideas, small group work, students collaborate, which is what I just went over in my previous assignment with the group activity. And then individual reflection, thinking quietly without talking to others. And then instructor-led lecture. Teacher presents information with little student dialogue. And then for number 9, an evidence-based contribution should reference readings or assignments. I click true. And then for this one, active participation, this is literally just them, if I recall, this is actually, yeah, this is the same, they're saying the same thing on this one. So, yeah, but this is just reciting everything that was said. And I said, and they asked me, do you understand all the information above? I clicked yes. And then that's pretty much it for the foundations assignment. So I severely apologize to the instructor that's watching my videos. I do not, for some reason, I do not have the cover letter. I know that I gave the cover letter to him in class, but I never got the cover letter back. And I don't have a copy of it. And I checked my Google Docs. I didn't see it in there, so I believe it was either it wasn't saved or I accidentally deleted it. I hope I didn't, but I just do not see it in the Google Docs. And I did submit the assignment. I did submit it in Ziplification. I did submit it. I can show you right here. It is graded. I did submit it, but I don't have the actual like physical copy or the Google Doc for it. But in the meantime, I'm gonna just go over how I did it and go over the instructions. So read page 209, 210 in the book, which is a book that was given to us in class. And it pretty much teaches you how to write a cover letter correctly or a business letter. And it says you will write a handwritten letter to your instructor, must be written in ink, write in business letter format, do not turn in here, submit in person. I'll provide it back to you after reading. I did not get it back, but it is all good. It's all good. Do not lose this. Do not leave class without getting this back. How are you doing? How are your other classes going? What went well? What is your plan for the rest of the semester? How are you doing in this class? Did you come to each class on time? Have you completed an assignment on time? What do you need from me? Business letter structure and formatting requirements. The letter must follow standard business letter conventions while allowing space for personal voice. emotional honesty, and reflective depth. Heading: sender's address. Include your full name, your full mailing address, street, city, state, zip code, aligned to the left margin, followed by the full date written out. Clearly situate the letter in time and place. You may have used the school address or as your address. Inside address, recipient's information. List my professional title, institutional affiliation, mailing address to establish formal recipient of the correspondence, and reinforce that this letter is directly intentional to a specific audience. Salutation: begin with a respectful greeting using my title, my last name, and signaling professional awareness while setting the tone for a personal yet appropriate exchange. Paragraphs: complimentary close. End the letter professionally, doing closings such as sincerely or respectfully, maintaining the conventions of business correspondence while honoring the sincerity of the message. Signature: type your full name beneath the closing to conclude the letter and affirm authorship of the narrative you have shared. Overall formatting: the letter must be double-spaced, use a readable professional font, maintain consistent margins, avoid headings, bullet points, or essay-style formatting. Genre integrating, and the overall document should read as private correspondence rather than an academic paper, balancing professionalism with emotional authenticity in a way that reinforces trust, vulnerability, and rhetorical awareness. So pretty much like a business letter, a professional private business letter, not like an essay or anything like that. When I did this assignment, I definitely learned that you do have to do it in a specific format, specifically MLA. I have another assignment. It's not necessarily this assignment, but it has the exact similar format. So since I don't have this exact assignment on me, I just want to, I'll just give like a little example. So a good example would be, of course, my name, my instructor's name. For the directions, let me just go right back. Instead of English comp, I would have just put my business, my address, and then the date, and then of course it would have been a cover letter or just a letter about how I'm doing in my classes, and then I would have did a full-blown paragraph right here, and then I would have finished it off with sincerely Jonathan Ford, right? And then of course it would have been in Times New Roman. It would have been in 12 font size. This side right here would have been left aligned, and then the main paragraph in the title would have been centered. Well, the title would have been centered, and then this would have been, the paragraph would have been left aligned. And anytime you do a title, always do it in bold. Never do it without that, because that looks very unprofessional. Even if you're doing an essay, always write the title in bold. And then of course for the header, you would have a header on the side if you're doing like an essay or anything like that. But that's just a little bit of example. It isn't perfect how it's supposed to be. That's only because I don't have the exact cover letter, unfortunately, so I apologize for that. But I did want to just go over this exact assignment and, you know, show my understanding of how to create and write a business letter in business letter format. So I'm going to move on to the next assignment.